Hey guys, Kevin here at Property by Us, session 2 on where do I start for all of us as agents. So I was thinking during the week from last time that we did the class for where do I start to today, I was thinking, well, I know some of you were asking, let's do a session on probate, trust sales, let's do more maybe negotiation, do ADU and other courses. But I was thinking it's good in the middle of some of these more educational topics that we'll have these practical topics that will help us actually to take what we learn to the street or marketplace and try to get deals. So the reason I want to do part 2, again, these type of interactive classes that I'm having is for us to really go out there and get deals. Because my opinion is, what good does information do if we don't use the information in practicality, in action, and to get deals? So I want to maybe do 3 sessions. So we did part 1, where do I start as an agent? Part 2 today, and then we do 1 more, and we'll be done. And then we can go back and maybe I'll do a probate class, do 3 sessions of probate and trust sales that we wanted to do. So today's session is also going to go short, so we'll be finishing at lunch. So these interactive classes, we can kind of just do it together. And I'm just improvising for most of it as we go, based on my experience on the deals that I've had in the past few years. So last week, can somebody remind me and everyone else, what did we talk about? What was the first thing we talked about on where do I start? And I know Louisa had the number 1 item that I put on there. So what do we start really as an agent? Can somebody remind, for Melody that wasn't here and somebody else that I think Meg wasn't here?
Yeah. Start with family and friends.
Right, so we talked about, as an agent, where you start is take your business card, take your license, take your information, take your connection, go to your circle of family and friends. So start with them. So see if any of them are in the need of buying a home. If they're renters and they've been thinking about doing the transition. So to use Louisa as an example, I think she's doing really well, because as soon as she got her license, she looked around and she saw that she has her brother and one of her close friends that are in the market or want to be in the market, and she started focusing with them. So we start with family and friends, and second to that, we also talked about where else can we go to look for business, to look for leads? Where else? So it was a circle of, which one?
Community nail salons.
Yeah, we talked about, so besides family network, we talk about our general network. So your nail salon lady, your accountant, your mechanic, my hairdresser, whatever. Like your general places that you go, just letting them know, hey John, you've been working on my cars for years. I know I used to sell furniture, but now I'm a real estate agent. Here's my cards. So we talk about the second place being our general network, right? And even for example, Ani had her brother asking some questions, right? And Ani is in the process of getting her license. So sometimes you don't have to have your license, in a sense of just telling people that, hey, I'm studying to get my license, just letting them know that you're about to get your license. And if they have any question, obviously you can guide them to the company that you're going to be working with, and we can help them too. And what was the third place? So let's do one more review, and then we can go what to do once we get their attention. What was the other place? So we talked about social media, and also we talked about, like telling your husband, like husband has a restaurant, right? Well, actually, Ani's brother has a restaurant. So Ani can go put her business card in the restaurant. Have you done that, Ani?
Yes.
Okay, so she has put her business card. Actually, let me show one of this. I'm actually doing this today. So we couldn't find any business card holder that had 1 shelf. So thanks to my beautiful wife, she bought one with 4 shelves. So I'm taking this to my mechanic today. I'm going to see him after a while to how we say in Persian or Armenian, we say kafe chai kahve. So I'm going to say hi to him. So I'm actually going to take my business card to him and say, hey, my dearest Sako. I hope none of you guys have a mechanic named Sako. But you said you do. Okay, make sure it's not the same one. We're going to get into a fight. So I'm putting I put 2 shelf. I'm going to say, put this over there if anyone is in the need of real estate. So you guys can do that. I know he'll let me because I bought him a home when I was an agent, when I first started years ago. So, and he was very happy. So I'm going to take that today. So this is the third thing, right? So I think one time Joelle put her assistant card somewhere. So it's good to do that, right? Okay, let me put it here so I don't forget. So we said where you start, your family network, your general network, and then social media and general thing. Then we last week talked about when you give your business card to the doctor lady, what do we do? What's the best way of approach? How do you tell your brother, let's do this? What is the first thing you guys want to do? Because I want you guys to have a system in mind. What do I do? Now that I have my brother in front of me, the doctor in front of me, what do I do? Who can tell me what is the first thing we said you should do? What is the general first thing we want to do?
Bring them to the office.
Thank you. Bring him to the office. So even if you don't bring him to the office, some people don't want to come to the office. What I mean by that is set up an hour of consultation. It could be at a Starbucks patio. It could be in their home. Well, I'll tell you guys an interesting story. When I first got my license as an agent, it wasn't until too long that I recruited Miss Perry, right? So Perry and I did not have an office, and our broker's office in Encino was very packed, and there was really no room to do anything. So Perry, where did we used to meet some of our clients? Remember the one that gave Ashereshte that we took to Melbourne?
Houses.
We would go to clients' houses. So I would talk to them and say, hey, you live like in Woodland Hills. I'm in Glendale. My office is in Montrose, let's say. But if it's convenient, I can come meet you at a local Starbucks.
Yeah.
And someone will say, no, come to our house. This particular one invited us to their house. And they happened to give us some Persian soup that, if you remember, I brought the home. And my wife is like, take the dish back right away. So I took the dish back. So basically, that's my point. Where you start, you tell your brother, Ani, you tell your uncle, Josep, you tell them, let's have a sit down. Let's not do this like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there by the phone. Like, what are the rates? What is this? Like, this is how you lose control. So in conclusion, in order for you to take control of the situation, you need a 30-minute to an hour sit down with them to interview them, to bring their mind into reality, to do the budgeting that we talked about. So, and that's what I always ask. What can you afford a month? That's will set everything in place. And then what was the second question? How much down payment do you have? And then let's even see if they qualify, because they may not even qualify. But at least you could do a little bit of a one-on-one with them. So that's where you start, right? Second to that is introduce them to a good lender, whether if it's going to be someone within our circle or an outside circle. They don't have to go with us. They can go with their own lender. Make sure they go to their lender. Make sure they get a pre-approval. Get that in place. Then you want to take them outside and do the setup, the auto email for them, and then start the house search. So in conclusion, once you get the person's attention, once they're a potential client, you want to invite them for a free consultation. In that consultation, you talk about their budget. Then you take them to a lender of their choice, see if they qualify. Hopefully they can come here. We can help them if they like. If not, take them to the lender of their choice. Once they're qualified, then you set up the auto email and you take them, you show them houses, okay? So that's kind of where we left off, right? Everyone caught up? So you caught up? Okay. So today I want to kind of talk about, I do the topic just in my mind. So I was thinking, now that I have a client, so let's keep going forward. Now you got your license, your brother and you're gonna go buy a house. Louisa is taking deer shearing from the airport to the city to buy a house. Morgan is taking the other one. Lala is finally coming to Earth. You know, we're all gonna go buy a house with these people, right? Now, I was thinking of my experience and I was looking back and I was thinking, what really worked for me that I can, that the whole transaction and the whole trip, everything was like simpler, smoother, and it ended up having more fruits down the line. Meaning, when I met a client from A to Z to the time I closed, it was a smoother ride, and they ended up referring other people because they were happy with my performance. And I kind of simplify it like this. I would say do the right thing, and everything will work itself out in the long run. And what do I mean by do the right thing? It's not that you guys are going to go do the wrong thing. What I mean is do what is good for your client. Put their interests first. Really do that. You know, sometimes by putting their interests first, you will be pushy and say it's time to buy this year. Sometimes by putting your client's interests first, you will tell them it's not good for you to buy right now. You need to wait. So let me give you guys an example. I interviewed a family this weekend, this Saturday. I was actually babysitting, so my son was kind enough to wait in the waiting room that I went to one of my friend's office, and he was playing Lego. So I had 45 minutes. My son gave me 45 minutes to do this interview. So as I was doing the interview, so the family was telling me this. I asked him the two questions. What is my first question, Joel, that I would ask?
What is your max budget?
Budget. They gave me a max budget of like $3,500. And what is my second question that I asked someone?
How much cash you have saved them?
And they had about like 30,000, 40,000. They said maybe 40,000 within 2 months. So going back to one of those informational videos that we made, remember how we said if you have more than 10%, maybe it's good to buy now. If you have less than 10%, then maybe it's better to wait. And after I talking to them, I told them, listen, it's better for you guys to wait, honestly. It's better for you guys to wait until next year, maybe next summer, when the rates go down. And they asked me why. They were very appreciative of my honesty. And they asked me why. And I said, listen, your payments right now, with this low of a down payment, to get anything that fits your need, is going to be like $4,500 because the rates are high. But if you take the same rate, 2% down, it's going to be $3,500. So basically, you could have what you want in the city you want, but the rate have to go to 4.5. They cannot be a 6.5. So I even told them, wait until the rates reach 4.5. We can keep in touch. Take my card. If you have any question, call me. But it's better to wait. So doing the right thing is not always thinking like, oh, I gotta close this deal and I gotta close it fast. I gotta pay my bills. We all have bills. I have bills. I'm behind. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I am, depending on how business is. But that shouldn't reflect on our decision to help people. We should help people based on what's good for them. Even with your client that we just put an offer and we lost second place, I really feel the price that we went was the best for them. I really think anything over that would be more like pushing without their 100% interest in mind. So what I'm saying is doing the right thing for your clients and will result in them referring you, will result in less arguments, will just result in complete transparency, complete disclosures, and complete honesty with everything from lending to real estate to inspection. Everything you guys always want to be 110% honest. Not that I was never not super honest. I was always honest. However, sometimes I felt that I didn't interview my clients and get to know their needs maybe as much as I should have. And I feel in those times that I did get to know their needs and I spent a lot of time, I feel like the transaction when it got to like putting an offer went smoother. When we closed, they were happier. When they sent me referral, there was like 2 of them. I felt that, you know? So that's what I generally would say. Now, how we can do that, get to know your buyers. Get to know with your brother, get to know really what's good for them. I'm beginning to know, for example, even what Zara wants. Get to know what's their budget, what is their area, why they want to be there. Maybe they have a mom that's older. They want to, like me, I have a mom that's older. I don't want my wife and I to move to like Woodland Hills. Let's say, get to know your buyer, spend time with them, be completely honest with them, and your fiduciary duty as a real estate agent is to put your clients first. You need to be obedient to their opinion as long as is lawful. You need to be obedient to their, and you need to respect them. You need to disclose anything and everything you see and basically guide them with a true heart. And I think if you do that, honestly, guys, it will kick in. Things will start happening. So any question on this before I go to the second thing that I want to talk about is follow up, yes or no? And that's the question I think Morgan brought up one time, and it happens to me and it happens maybe to you, Louisa, right now. You're dealing with a couple of people. So any question on doing the right thing, everybody is kind of clear on that?
Yes.
So let me give you guys sometimes an example that sounds ugly, but you're still doing the right thing. I want to give two examples. I want to do one for our company and one for our kid that I personally experience. So let's just say, for example, I'm going to use Joel as an example. Let's say I feel like Joel has good work habit. I feel like she's smart, she's driven, she could be a good assistant to some of my agents, right? So I decide to give Joel like a $200 salary. I say, hey Joel, here's your salary. I want you to come on board. And when finally Morgan and Louisa and Ani and Caroline have their deal, then I can actually pay her from not my pocket. So the good thing with that is I'm preparing, but what if you guys take a long time to have the deal? And what if I run out of money paying her? And then all of a sudden what will happen is I can't keep the company, I can't grow the company. So by me sometimes thinking of the short term, I'm actually losing a long term something, So sometimes like when my kid comes to me and is like, Dad, I really, really want to buy this thing, And I know if I buy this thing, I can go to like a trip. But sometimes by buying that thing, I'm taking the money that I could have spent in the university funds that I'm saving. Or beside buying that thing, I could have spent that money, put him or her in a swimming class. So all I'm saying is we gotta think of the next step, and then we gotta see the last car on the freeway. We gotta see the big picture. So if sometimes we make a decision for our clients, we have to think of this client might refer us, or even with an agent when we're interacting, because a lot of times when you guys start doing many deals, you will bump heads with other agents because lending sometimes takes time and there is delays. In delay process, there's the listing agent, and if you're a buyer agent, which is called a selling agent, you guys will bump heads. You got to think, am I going to work with this client again? And that was part of the negotiation tactic, right? Am I going to do this again? So you always want to think of that in hand. So if no more question, let's go to follow up, yes or no. So a lot of times we're like, well, Morgan brought a client here and we talked. And then Morgan is thinking, well, it's been 2 weeks, I haven't heard. Do I follow up? If I follow up, am I being too pushy? Am I being too pushy of a salesperson that they're going to get turned off like I'm desperate and I need business? That question crosses our mind. When do I follow up? Do I follow up or I don't follow up? Well, what do you guys think? Tell me a scenario so I can kind of explain both ends of it. Give me a scenario that you guys are in, like maybe with Zorik and them. What happened? So let me introduce that story a little bit, and we could use that in the class. So Louisa has a wife and husband. We put an offer for them. They love the place, and they told her and I that we have to have this. We have to have this place. Kevin, John, we have to have it. Okay. We did our best. Long story short, they didn't win. They came second place. After that, I heard the wife was completely turned off. Kind of wasn't returning her text or something. So I called the husband and I explained the scenario. And I said, listen, we did the best we can. Let's move forward. So how did you feel about following up in that situation? Can you give us a little bit of a feedback?
Well, like, first I gave them like a few days break, you know, because I want them to just come from like to the earth.
Earth,
You know?
exactly,
And
right?
then after a few days, just it was like closer to weekend, you know, I approached them again. And I said like there is an opening, you know, open houses, you know, if you'd like to go. And they were, I know they were out of town, and they said like you know, we want to get some rest and then we'll let you know, but it didn't work, you know, we didn't end up going to thing. So like I gave them a break again for this whole week. I didn't want to bother them, but like again, probably tomorrow or by Friday, I'm gonna just shoot them another text and see
Okay.
if they're ready for another open house or thing, you know, we'll see how it goes. But I don't like to be too pushy. At the same time, I follow up with them. I don't want them to think, you know, I just forgot about them.
Yeah.
But just, you know, every day to just bother them, I think it's too much, you know, they finally get tired of you. So
That's
I
good.
think you have to keep your balance. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm wrong or right, or you guys agree.
No, you're correct. I think the first thing, and this relates to maybe Morgan and Ani, since we're bringing like new clients. The first question you want to ask, whether you want to say, do I follow up with them or not? This is the first question. Are they 100% your client? So, what does that mean? In her case, they're 100% her client, or her brother, let's say. It's 100% a client. What about if they're not? They're potential. Someone that saw you in social media, someone that your husband introduced you, somebody that your girlfriend introduced you to, that you're trying to stamp them as 100%. So they're between customer and client. That's the first question. If they are 100% your client, it's an easier answer. Because no matter you want to be a little pushy, you want to be a little soft, they're going to go with you. So that's usually easy. In that case, just to give you guys my feedback, I would say follow up with them according to their personality and according to their situation in hand. So you did the right thing. You kind of knew them. The situation in hand was a little heated. They were disappointed. You gave them their space, but in time you went back. So if there are your clients, meaning they're Benik or Benik's best friend, or in my scenario like Anashe or Reza, then it's easier to make that decision. Even sometimes when I forget to actually have a client, I forgot to do my due diligence, because they're my client, I can just apologize and say, I'm sorry I didn't follow up with you earlier, I was busy. Still gonna be there. Now, if it's the other way around, if follow up yes or no has to do with your social media friend that introduced you, your husband gave you a client, your brother gave you a client, that's a little bit more sensitive. That's a little bit more thoughtful. That's a little bit more you gotta put on your schedule. You know, you met someone through the nail salon, let's say, you met someone through your dad, and they're not 100% yours. You know, like Robert, for example, praise God, we're gonna close this deal. But let's say you didn't, that's your client. He's not gonna go anywhere. So what about in the situation that the person you're dealing with to follow up or now, like you had that situation,
So,
what do you think?
Can I add?
Yeah.
That lady, the same lady. That
What's her name? Do you remember? I
Um,
forgot her name.
Lala.
Okay.
And then she's coming back end of this month. So I'm like, I
Oh,
don't
she's
know how
coming
to-
back?
Yeah, she's coming back. Then she told her like she'll
The
be
same
back.
one that works at a hospital, right?
The daughter, yeah, works in the hospital. The rich one, the mom, and she's
Oh,
coming back.
are you talking about the one that went to Iran, or are you talking about the
Yeah,
one that
the
came here
one-
through Benik?
No, the one that went back to Iran.
You know, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
She's coming back this end of this month, and I don't know how to approach it exactly. Like, what's it called? Like,
So
how to
is
break
she-
it here.
Okay, is she 100% your client, or you still like,
The same situation?
okay. So I think in a situation that they're not 100% yours, I would say the follow-up has to be more persistence. I would say the follow-up has to be more aggressive, and you have to draw the line when it becomes too aggressive that it seems pushy, but you cannot be relaxed about it, because you gotta show that you care, and you gotta show that you're professional. So we cannot be as relaxed as Zori can there. If someone was referred to you and they're not 100%, I think you need to plan as soon as they come, send them just a general text, welcome. So nothing about like, let's go buy a house. Send them a welcome and then give them a few days rest time, and then tell them, now that you're back, would you be interested to still meet at our office? The market has gone through some changes. I think Kevin and I can bring you up to date. We would love to have coffee with you, something like that. That's what I would do. So welcome without any business attached to it, and then a business text. And with your case and any of you guys that have potential customer, I would say definitely follow up with them. I would honestly say it shouldn't go more than a week. So let me give you a practical example. If you bring a client here and you sit down and you do the things with them, I'm not talking about your brother, I'm talking about someone that's in the middle, right? You need to follow up with them within a week. How did it go? Where do we go next? What can we do? Do you want to go for the pre-approval? Do you want to do this? So I think the follow-up needs to be in order. When it becomes too aggressive, I feel like like what happened with that other lady. So Ani brought a client here. It was referred to her from elsewhere. We didn't know. It was a customer, sorry. Ani brought a customer. We sat down. We had a nice talk. She worked in the hospital. I think she was a part-time nurse. And then Ani tried to follow up. She said, I'm busy. I'll get back to you. And then Ani followed up, nothing. And I think I followed up, nothing. So one time I did, one time Ani did, nothing. So maybe she wants to wait. Maybe, we don't know. But that's when you just stop. So I would say 2, my opinion. You could have your own based on the person's personality that you feel. I would say 2. 2, either phone call. Definitely a phone call has to. You can't just do 2 texts and just stop. I think even if you do 2 texts, there should be 1 phone call follow up. So I think if the person is really interested to buy a home or get a loan or work with you, if you follow up on time, if you show up on time, if you do everything correctly, then you will move forward with them. If they're a waste of time, they're just gonna keep getting you in circles and circles, then just forget about it, So follow up, yes or no? I would say definitely yes. 1 week follow up with people that are potential. With people that are like your clients is easier. It's just case by case according to the situation and their personality. You know how your brother is. You know when to follow up with them. You know what I mean? Because you know them. So now that we have the client, we always want to focus on their need. We want to do the right thing. We want to educate them. We want to get to know them. We want to be follow up. We want to be persistent with our communication with them. Okay. Now that we have them, what else can we do, guys, to show them that we are the right agent, so we can start showing, we can make him a client? What else do you guys think we can do? One more I want to put on the board. So that is it. Perfect. Yes. This way?
And back, like back up a little bit.
Oh, back up?
Yeah. Yeah, like this.
Like that? What else do you guys think we can do? So remember, when they are in the office, when you talk to them, you want to be very honest with them. You want to focus on their interests, and you want to always follow up. What else can we do that it will help them become our client, and it will also help us go to like escrow, like get our offer? What else can we do, guys? You guys have a couple of clients. I know Caroline left, but you have a couple coming in. What are you doing, Morgan, to make them go with you? Tell us about some of the things you're doing.
So what I did, I just sent them Nelly studies, or I guess she was here like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't remember. I sent her listings in the area that she wanted. I just used the map to send her the listing that I chose. And then I texted her a few times. She was out of town for a week. And yesterday I thought, okay, I already texted her a few times and I sent her a listing a few times, so I'm gonna call her. And then I call her. Actually, she once called me, asked for some totally far area of Victorville to send her listing. So, but I called her, I told her, oh, how did you like the listing that I sent you in Victorville? And she said, yeah, I'm just thinking that it's too far. I don't want to drive 1.5 hours. And I said, yeah, I was surprised you asked for that area, because I told her that it's not to your best interest, because she works in downtown area. And I told her that I'm gonna again send her the listings that are conduct new in the last 7 days in the previous area. So and I just called her, say, if you like anything, just let me know. I can schedule a tour. Just make sure you let me know 24 hours in advance, because I have to let the listing agent know about it before we do, and that's all.
Does she have, I'm just curious, I'm trying to go back, there's been a few different interviews I've done with some of our agents, with their customers and clients. Does she have a pre-approval?
No, she just talked to you, and that's all. She hasn't. I'm just waiting for her to do a tour, and then maybe tell her, oh, you know, we really need to do pre-approval. Or I can't do that right now, because there was one listing that she liked, but she told me like 8-9 days after I sent her the listing, because she was out of town. And then she told me, oh, that was the only one I liked. I checked the listing, it was pending. And then I told her, oh, I'm sorry, that one is pending. I told her that anyway, I'm gonna call the agent. It's probably too late, but I still gonna talk to agent. And whatever I did, I texted her back. Yeah, I did call the seller agent, listing agent, and she said, oh, I'll keep your number, and I will contact you if something changed. But I don't think so, because not only is it pending, I have backup offer. I explain everything to Nels. So yeah, I mean, maybe it would be better, because she received tons of listing, and you're right. Maybe she should be she should get her pre-approval, because if there is just one and many that she likes, then she wouldn't have enough time.
So, guys, I think what's happening with Morgan's story is a 90% case that you guys will all go through with potential customers. Not again your uncle or brother or aunt or relatives, but somebody that you're trying to bring them from, like somebody that was referred to you from your spouse work, let's say, and they came to you. So I want to conclude today's part 2. And I want to go through, first finish these 3. So number 1 today, we said when you get to the stage of planning, you want to plan for their benefit, not your own. And then after that, you want to follow up with them, make sure they still show up, make sure you guys can go to see houses and stuff. So last thing to that is a system. You guys need to think of a system that you will place with each and every one of your customer that works for both everyone's schedule, everyone's need, and everyone's mindset. You need to have a system in place. Now, the system in general should look like this, and I'll talk about what happened here because it happened to 50% of my cases. The system in place is, first, where do I start as an agent? I want to get some leads, right? Once I have the lead, I want to do an interview. That's the free consultation, right? The 2 questions, right? Once you ask the 2 questions, you want to send them to a lender. Either if they want to work with us or send them to a lender of their choice. They don't have to work with us. Get pre-approval. That's number 3. This is the right system. This is in order, right? After pre-approval, then we plan for the buy. You have to set up the auto email for them. You have to talk about housing. Maybe go visit some neighborhoods. Maybe send them some listing like Morgan is doing. After you plan for the buy, then you do the follow-up. Are you ready to go like you're doing now? You're at that stage with them, right? Louisa, with Zurich and them, you're at follow-up stage. Again, you're at follow-up. Then we do the offer, and then we close. So these are the steps, right? Now, what happened with Morgan's customer that happened to a lot of our files is they want to jump over the pre-approval until they go see some house and see how they feel. They want to get a little taste of the outside situation before they actually get the pre-approval. So the problem with that is, if they even like a house that's a good deal, guess what could happen?
You can't put it up.
You can't put it up, but they could lose it because other people that are ready. So think of this, guys. Think of this. Think of any sport. think of any sport that you can think of. Whether if it's dancing, whether if it's swimming, whether if it's soccer, basketball, whatever. Who wins? Who wins? The team that's ready. The team that comes prepared wins. The team that's not prepared doesn't win. So who wins an offer? When there is a good deal, Morgan, when there's a good buy, a good house, it's not going to be one offer. It's going to be multiple offers. Who wins the offer? Whoever is prepared. Supporting documents, gifter signature, pre-approval, credit score, whatever we need for the supporting so to have the pre-approval before we go look at houses, it's very important, but I know in a lot of cases they won't do it because then you're being pushy and aggressive. You're like pushing them, right? But that's where we want to get them back to. So if that situation happens, which happened to me a lot of times, what I try to do is what you're doing. Send them a couple of houses, take them to a house, but immediately, as soon as you see the opportunity, bring them back to the office to get the pre-approval. Tell them, listen, you want a deal, your offer is not going to get accepted if we don't have everything in order. So we need to go back to the lender and get our pre-approval. But the right thing to do it the right way is to follow this order. Look for a lead in social media, offer them to interview them at Starbucks, then take them to the lender of their choice, get a pre-approval, then plan for their housing. Okay, so this is pretty much could finish kind of our journey of where do I start. Where you start, Elizabeth, is you look for leads. After you find your lead, then Morgan, you will interview them. You brought him here, that's really good. If not, take him to Starbucks. After you interviewed your brother and you know what he wants, then you need to take your brother to the lender of your choice, your friend to lender of your choice, your friend to lender of your choice, your social media, take him to lender to get the pre-approval. Once they know what they're pre-approved, right, then you plan for the buy. You sit down, talk to them about more detailed conversation about houses. Once you plan for that, you have to do follow-up. They're not going to buy a house with Zillow and Redfin. You want to be there. You want to be present. You want to follow up. Once you do that, you do the offer and hopefully you close. So this is kind of where we start, where we finish. So today I wanted to say when you guys are planning to buy, you want to be honest with them. Don't force them to go with any lender that you want or any escrow that you want. Let them make their decision. You can always show them the two doors. Let them choose their own door. Okay? We can help them, obviously. And that's the important thing. But last thing that's really important, and the video, I think Joelle did an informative video, and she talked about why is it important to have one agent. You need to tell them that. You can say, hey, you can go with a lender of your choice, but to have one agent is to have an agent that cares for their needs. There's a relationship, you know what they're looking for, and you protect their best interests. That's why it's good for your clients not to go talk to the other agents, to talk to you, for you to talk to the other agent, because that's what we do, right? So it's always good to have one agent, but you don't have to push them to necessarily go with a particular lender or escrow or whatnot. You offer them your services and they'll make the decision. So the follow-up, is everyone clear? If the person is not your relative and they're not 100% your client, you want to be persistent on following up. You don't want to let 2 weeks go. You don't want them to come. It has happened to me where I just met someone through a friend, and I forgot to put a note, and like 2 weeks went, 3 weeks went. I'm like, oh my God, who was that person? I even forgot their name. Like they came to my office, and then I try to follow up, and they didn't pick up, and they didn't even like call me back. You know what I mean? So it's very important to follow up like 1 week. 1 week is the max. Usually I would say 3 days is nice. 1 week is the max. And after you have done your interview with them, like those people, my follow-up would be, we talked about the market. This is what I would tell them. We talked about the market. We told you why it might be good for you to buy now. So if you're ready, I think it's time to meet with a lender and get your pre-approval, because there's a lot of good opportunities out there. There's going to be more inventory actually coming up, hopefully in summer. Right now the inventory is low, but if you want to be ready for summer, you got to get your pre-approval now. We got to get all of your documents in place. We need the proof of funds. We need your credit report. Everything needs to be ready. So when the inventory is available, we can attack and get you the best deal. Last thing, guys, a lot of the people when you represent the buyer, they say they want the best deal, right? I know you guys hear that, like, how can I get a discount? How can I get credit from the seller towards my closing costs, concession? How can I get a best deal? Everybody wants a best deal. So that would be your answer to plan ahead. That would be your answer. To get the best deal for your client, they need to have a pre-approval ready, their bank statement to show the proof of funds ready, credit. So you tell them that, you go, listen, if you want to get a good deal, what's one of their name that came here?
Nellis and Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. So you can tell Elizabeth, if you really want me to get you a good deal and you really want me to do the best for you, okay? I need to have everything ready. So when we do an offer, I can go out there and negotiate with supporting documents, not just talk. So that would be not an excuse, that would be a reason for them to come get their pre-approval, because when they want to get their pre-approval, they are going to submit their credit. So we're going to have their credit report. We're going to have their bank statement to show the proof of fund, make sure money is available. If it's not, who's the gifter? We need the gifter. So we need to have all of these ready. That's one. So when somebody tells me, you know what, my friend, give me a good deal, I say, okay, give me the right ammunition so I can go to war for you with the better weapons. If you just give me my fist to go to fight, I might lose in an offer. But if I have your bank statement, the pre-approval, if I have your credit report, if I have everything in place, then I'm gonna win for you. So this is the in the system, guys, that we have here. So get the lead, do the interview. The interview is really for you to get to know their needs and for you to help them understand their budget and what they can afford. Bring them into like reality. Then you gotta get the pre-approval before plan for the buy. So I know you left, but I'll end it with this. Like Caroline has a customer, Laura, and she's been a close friend of Caroline, and they've been looking for a couple of years, but off and on, but she didn't have a pre-approval. So when we invited her to come in, we talked about that. I explained everything to her. So I did the interview basically with Caroline together. And afterwards, she told Caroline she was very happy, she learned a lot, and then Perry was able to get the pre-approval. So when the market opens up, when inventory comes again, I'm sure you could find her something good, and it's to her benefit. She has 20% or 30% down, so this is a good time for her to buy, right? So next week, we'll finish this part 3, and I just want to use our experiences, whatever, so just want to have like a more of a interaction thing. So any question, everyone on board? So Caroline, when you were gone, I just basically talked about the follow-up, yes or no. Were you here for this?
No.
So just really quick, if it's a Laura, somebody that's your client, you choose when you want to follow up at your discretion based on their personality and the situation. However, if it's a new client, like in, let's say Andranik, let's just say, you need to follow up maximum a week. You don't want too much time to go, you want to look professional. And if you follow up twice and they don't respond to you, then maybe it's time to just give them their space, because they're